Welcome back. Today I'm sitting down to do my start of the month planning reset, updating my newly elected multi-planner ecosystem and doing a full planner system setup for August. So if you like practical organization, Filofax setup ideas, or realistic habit tracking and budgeting routines with a sprinkle of self-reflection here and there, you're in the right place. We've got a lot to get through today, from updating my commonplace book and reorganizing my paper planning to logging major milestones and updating my digital workflow. So grab your favorite drink, grab your planner, and let's get organized together. We're starting today's reset in my commonplace book. I have a collection of loose notes, quick phone dumps and scribbles scattered across everywhere that need a permanent home. I don't use my commonplace book on a daily basis, only when an idea actually strikes me. And over time, I've noticed a very distinct pattern in my creative process. I go through huge ups and downs. So some months I'm riding high on endless drive and inspiration, writing down a dozen ideas a day, but then almost like clockwork, a crash follows. So for a couple of months after a high, my motivation hits literally zero. My brain feels completely drained. I start spiraling into that classic anxiety. So what if I've run out of juice? What if I'll never be creative again? What if this is the end of it? This is it. So if you experience that, I just wanted to remind you that creativity is not a linear output. You just have to give yourself some grace and time, and you always, always come out of those slumps. So when you're in one of those valleys, I guess, just try to remind yourself that this is not permanent, this does not define me, and in a few days, or even if it's longer, it will end. It always ends. So try to live for the ups, and then when you're in the downs, just give yourself grace, relax, rest, do the absolute minimum that you've got to do, and get inspiration from places that you would not normally get inspiration from. You know what I mean? So do what you got to do. Nobody's watching. Okay, so let's see what kind of notes I have to put in here. I will have to go through some loose notes, and I will probably have some stuff in my Filofax as well. I'll have some probably in my inbox and my brain dump. And I actually know that I have a lot of notes on my phone that will need to go in the commonplace. So I will use these three sources to get what I need to get into the commonplace book. Okay, actually, none of these loose notes were for the commonplace. Let's check what we have in the Filofax. Okay, so I've already found a note. That's great. I'm glad that I actually have something to put in here and I didn't just say that I did. Let's open her up. And the first thing I have is learning and recording a song. So that will go into the things I should do section in my index. So that is going to be page 19. There we go, it's with Coca-Cola Santa. So that can be crossed out. So now I'll turn to my composition brain dump notebook. Okay, so every now and then this happens. I'm going through my brain dump notebook, I'm reading an idea, and it sparks a new idea. So I'm just gonna flip back and quickly write it down before I forget. Hang on, I might have already forgotten that by the time I explain this. This is why it's so important to have a brain dump notebook, so that you don't wait till you get home or till you can get to any of your planners. You always have this on you and just write things down as and when they come. And that's why I also find it very important that your brain dump notebook is small and portable, but have a lot of pages. Like this is a chunky boy. How many pages does it have? It's got 80 sheets and 160 pages. Okay, let me write that idea down. Okay, so the commonplace book ideas that I've got in here are mostly story ideas and really long ones. So for example, where's that one very long one? Well, this is quite long as well, actually. Let me show you. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pages. So what I'm gonna do, I think I'll either put those very long ones in my commonplace, either in my own time, or if you'd like to see a deep dive on my commonplace book, I can take that time to copy that over. So, oh no, I have completely forgotten that I used a fountain pen. There's the smudge. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I have quite a few more that are living in my phone as of now. So let me get them out. And the first one is a question that's going to page 18. So right here. And this might seem silly that I put questions in my commonplace book, but I find it useful. This new question that I wrote down is, how do I make quicker decisions? I'm finding myself in the predicament that I have a lot that I need to get done. Ever since I started my channel, obviously I do still have my very demanding 9-to-5 day job, and my issue has always been that I'm very, very indecisive, and I just need to learn how to make quicker decisions, but also still informed decisions. I always took my time to make decisions because I wanted to make the best decision possible. Everybody would want to make the best decisions, but that always resulted in my managers saying, oh, like this needs to be quicker. But I felt like the speed was always hindering the outcome of my decisions. And so I just need to maybe look up some advice online or whatever on how to make quicker decisions so that my managers, but also I am happy that I can get things done faster. Okay, so this one was a music video idea. Don't laugh. It's not likely that I'll ever create a music video. It's just something that popped into mind when I was traveling on the underground, and it just felt like a music video. And so I thought, well, you know, you'll never know. I'll just write it down. So I did, but realistically, it's probably never gonna happen. I have 2 more notes that I will need to add into my commonplace book, but they're sort of longer, so I think I will save them for either their own dedicated video or to do in my own time. Okay, so next up, I'm going to sort out my daily habit tracker. I'll bring my Filofax back in the picture. I have started this new routines planner, but this month was so hectic that I could barely log anything. I have logged my medication, and I actually have the beginning of the month on an old habit tracker that I have before I designed these new ones. So let me bring that out. Where could it be? Give me 1 second. It can't be lost. I know that I've not thrown it away. Where the heck could it be? Okay, guys, kid you not, I've turned my room upside down trying to find that July habit tracker. I never started a separate July habit tracker because I knew that I was going to design a new one. So what I've done is I just took the June habit tracker and turned it over and started tracking my things on the back of it. Yep. Okay, let's transfer our notes. Those 4 days are all I know for sure. So I don't think I'm going to bother too much adding the rest because I think I'll just write July off, to be honest. It has proven to be a difficult month, so I'll just make a note that July was hectic. Did not manage to track most of my items. Sad face. So that's done. Now I want to do the setup for August. So here's a blank routines page. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've got everything. I'll just write in the year and highlight August. Now, let's pull out our Remembro and see what we've done so far. Complete habits planner, delegate to calendar, to-do list, loose notes, reset planners, do budgets, add info yearly planner, check birthdays. Okay, we've done nothing so far. We are going to move into my habit tracker setup and we can get started on weekly task number 4, which is complete habits planner. This is my permanent habits tracker. Ever since I separated my system into a multi-planner ecosystem, this is my first time managing habits in a dedicated notebook rather than keeping everything squeezed inside my Filofax. I'm really excited to see how sustainable this feels long term. Okay, so first tracker updated. Let's see what's next. Okay, so we've got a wellness tracker. I did have one day where I felt a bit off. I've got that written down in my work notebook because I called in sick that day. And that was July 10th. Alright, that's logged. Next. Okay, weight trackers, 2026, July. flip. Almost forgot my mom's name day. Let me connect the dots, because that's the satisfying part. And make the dots bigger actually. Next up is my mood tracker. Let's color in a couple of things so that we know what's what. So we're gonna use green for happy, joyous, and bright. Black for sad, sorrowful, or disappointed. For angry, we'll use red. For neutral, we'll use sepia. For nervous, orange. For tired, I'll use fuchsia. And I don't think I have any more colors. I'll use blue for energetic, productive, or hyped. Okay, let me do the bright red for irritable, because I've had the burgundy for angry, I've had the fuchsia for tired, and I'll use the true red for irritable. Okay, and this I'm only going to set up from August. So the year is 2026. And the month is August. Oh, hang on. You see, this is why it's good that I'm trialing it, because this tracker is meant to be a yearly tracker from the 1st to the 31st, and then January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. However, in the flap here, I added my usual monthly grid for my monthly trackers, but I don't need it here because the month is already baked into the tracker itself. So I'll need to make a note to fix that, and I'll do it in my brain dump real quick. Okay. Next up, I've got my reading log. I don't really want to add books that I have already read. I started listening to the audiobook for Animal Farm from George Orwell. So I'll just put the author and title and the start date. So I will tick Complete Habits Planner. Now let's move on to resetting my Filofax. Bam. Next, I'm upgrading my tube map. We're gonna swap them out. All right. Tube map it in. Binder closed. Next up is a big one. I'm ticking off my final completed citizenship checklist boxes. So because this is such a major life event, I'm logging both my submission date and my upcoming biometric appointment on my weekly spreads and my yearly fold-out calendar. I'll pop them into my weekly spreads as well. By the way, I love using this fold-out calendar especially for major milestones, so that years from now, if I want to remember when these key moments happened, I don't have to sift through daily or weekly spreads. I can see my entire year at a glance. I think I will always have a yearly overview in any planner that I use ever. Now it's time to update my tier list, my to-dos. And here's the new one that I'm gonna add. So let's start with the old tier list and see what was not done. Next up, let's see what we have on my inbox. Next is my brain dump. So next up, let's see if we've got any loose notes. Let's start with this one. Okay, so next up is actually laying out the tier list. So buy summer work clothes is a B, maintenance. Social media posting is a priority. Tier list done. Let's distribute what we can. So next up, I'm going to replace the notes. Here are some new pages. So you might notice that my surroundings are a little bit different, and that is because this is a different day. I did not think it was going to take so long to reset everything, but I do think that it's just because this is the very first full multi-planner ecosystem reset that I'm doing. So yeah, it is going to take a little bit longer. I'm hoping that it's going to speed up a little bit as we go along, but for now, what we've missed from the day before is budget tracking and my digital note keeping. I like to keep budget tracking low stress because it's stressful enough to think about money anyway. I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I also want to make sure that I'm not overspending in a particular month. So by reviewing what came in, what went out, I try to eliminate sort of a mid-month money anxiety before it even sets in. So the first thing that I'm going to do in this particular planner is looking at my income and my targets. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. I'll just pop in the notes to say irregular expenses, laptop, repayment, cat items. Okay, and our needs list, I will put rent, bills, travel, repayment, groceries, subscriptions. So in my growth pots, I've got citizenship application. I only need to pay for my ceremony and passport, but this month I am not putting anything towards that. Probably next week or at some point I'll get started on the August targets, and then we'll see where we end up at the end of August. Hopefully it's going to be better than July. July was a pretty messy month, both in my budget tracking and my habit tracking. So yeah, we don't want to repeat that. So the next item on our list is our digital setup. I'll need to transfer some ideas and some outlines from my brain dump and from my phone notes. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so for now, that's all I'm going to do. I was just literally taking my remaining phone and brain dump notes and filing them into their respective digital project folders, and that was basically it for my digital workflow. As a last step, we're also going to update the rest of our Remembrall. Okay, so what have we done? I have collected my loose notes, so that's a tick. And I have done my tier list. I have delegated to my calendar. Let me double check. Yep, everything's in my calendar, so I'll tick that off too. For monthly reset planners, done. Do budgets, done. Oh. Add info on the yearly planner. Let's see if that's done, but I think I've done it. Yep, done. Okay, I know what I've not done. I've not checked birthdays. There we go. Okay, so we've only had one birthday to add, and that's added. So we're all good. I'll tick that off. And then general planning is done. Okay, so everything's ready for next week's reset. I'll just pop the Remembrall back in and put things away. So I hope you enjoyed this massive planner reset. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit shorter in the future, but let me know if you prefer the long versions, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.